All right. Okay, so I'm just going to give a little overview about our trip before we go into specifics and what we learned and things like that. So we were in India 2 weeks, and this is the group. So it was a very small group compared to our normal Bahamas trips. So my parents, me, David. On the right, that's Carla. She's from Georgia, and she was really helpful on the trip. She was a teacher, so she helped us with the VBS curriculum, and it was a big help. And then Megan Stapleton and Sierra Lee, who's here, and they're from the San Diego church. So yes, that was the group. So we stayed in the house of the GCI pastor in India. They're the Zachariah family, and this was their house, and we were very blessed to be able to stay there. It was just a beautiful house, and they cooked a whole bunch of Indian food for us every meal, and it was much more, it was very comfortable. And so on the left, there's Dan and Mary Zachariah, so the pastor and his wife, my parents and Carla. This is at dinner one night. And then the rest of us, and then this is Ashley Zachariah, who's their son, and he hung out with us, and he took us around every night when our ministry was done. He's like, "Where do you guys want to go?" So that was really fun. And okay, next. This is just a little picture of India. They don't really have traffic rules at all. There's no lanes. You kind of drive on the left side, but then they have this joke that you just drive on whatever is left of the road. So you just kind of
3 cows.
Wherever. There's some cows on the street. You'll see one sitting on the ground by that car. So you just have to drive around it. There's one on this side, one on that side. They have the motorbikes and these little yellow tricycle things you can see in the back. For those of you who have been to the Philippines, it reminded me a lot of the Philippines, but with cows in the middle of the street. I didn't see that as much in the Philippines. And so whenever we had to cross the street, it was an adventure. It was just hold hands, just run, just go. So that's kind of India. So what we did for the mission trip. So we were there, it wasn't 2 weeks exactly, it was a weekend, the week, and then another weekend. So that week we were there, every morning we went to a school that was owned by the pastor's wife. And it was interesting because we couldn't talk about God because it wasn't a Christian school. But they really wanted us to come, the teachers and the kids were just so excited that we were there, and throughout the week we worked with all the different grade levels from kindergarten to high school, and we did 3 classes, and David and Sierra are going to talk about it more, but I'm just giving an overview. We did a values education class, we did a cultural exchange class where we did a presentation on America, and the kids told us about India, and that was really fun. And then we did a games thing, and we taught team building games or group games. So that was during the day. And then in the evening, we would go to an orphanage. And we went to 3 different orphanages on our trip, which I'm going to talk more about later, because that was one of my favorite parts. And then there was the Friday that we were there was a school holiday. So we did a VBS with the church kids, and then we invited all these kids from a local village as well. And so we had 50 kids at the VBS. And then there were a few other things that happened during the trip, like Carla, the teacher, she did a seminar for teachers at the school. So on Saturday, I think she went over there, and there were 50 teachers, and she just did something on classroom management. She also did a session on how to teach Sunday school for the people at the church. And then my dad did a session on Trinitarian theology for members of the church, and they also invited friends, so there were a lot of people there. So yeah, we kind of got into all these different things while we were there. And so again, just the overview. And now we'll kind of all go up and talk about our favorite parts or what we learned. So, and we'll start with David.